you agree that there are extreme opinions about you?
Yes, I do. I do agree, and I'm very happy to hear that there are extreme opinions about me, because that tells me that I've not been wearing a mask. I've been very frank, so people have seen the real Sanjeev.
I love this memory of your mother. This is not the tone I thought I would start this podcast on, but I'm really glad it started this way.
So more independent thinkers, right?
I wouldn't generalize that way about all in the boarding school,
No?
because
Okay.
some of my peers became drug addicts. Some of them died early uh, for various reasons. I don't know.
Sanjeev, I'm going to make an assumption about you.
Hmm.
And please point out that this assumption is flawed.
Mhm.
Here's the assumption. I feel like whatever are the worst things that could have happened to anyone
Hmm.
has happened to you already.
Mhm.
So you're not afraid of anyone.
It was more fun being in the dormitory, because in the dormitory we took off the mattress from the steel beds which we had, we put books in between and start playing table tennis while they were in the church. So I found this was far better than going to church. There's a very book that I would suggest reading is Big Mistakes. Greatest investors and their biggest mistakes. Yeah, you'll get all the big. Everybody's made mistakes. Everybody. It's a journey. Nobody gets it right. And you may never get it right.
Conscious of my own pride that of all the books he's mentioned, I only could relate to James Hadley Chase. Every other book I've never heard of.
Okay.
I'm very conscious of my own pride when I say I read a lot. Clearly, I do not.
Okay. Imagine my plight.
Pineapple Podcast Episode 2, Krishna the Unstable. I'll be joined by Mario the Legend shortly. We will be speaking to Sanjiv the Irreverent Banerjee. We will be understanding how he applies concepts of efficiency and effectiveness, a core principle of the 7 habits of effective people. He will be applying it to politics, religion, his personal life, which he goes into great detail. We get a great picture of what Bombay used to look like in the 70s. Some amazing anecdotes from a wonderful person. Stay tuned.
Boom! Here we are, happy to be back. Mario the Legend and Sanjeev the Enigma. That is the word I've given you because this is the first time in my life, absolute first time in my life, I'm face to face with someone who has extreme reviews of himself from other people. I have interacted with many people and asked them about you. I have extreme feedback. Sanjeev is one of the nicest people to have around. He will always tell you where you can be good, and his advice is always something we ask for. You have the other extreme. Sanjeev is always muh pe aake, he will tell us anything, ekdam muffat hai, and he will shout at everybody, doesn't care who is next to him. We don't know which is which. So I'm very curious to see, first of all, to have a reaction like that. And I don't want to just ask a question and leave it. I want to actually find out why you have such an extreme view. So could you take maybe a few seconds and just tell us from until the age of 2025, what did you do? Who were you as a person? And over this podcast, I would love to understand how this personality of yours came out. And first of all, is what I'm saying true? Would you agree that there are extreme opinions about you?
Yes, I do. I do agree, and I'm very happy to hear that there are extreme opinions about me, because that tells me that I have not been wearing a mask. I've been very frank, so people have seen the real Sanjeev, better or worse. So that's about me. Okay, so what do you want to know about me as
Until
such?
the age of 25.
Okay, let me just say I come my irreverence comes from the fact that I come from a broken family, a divorced. My parents were divorced, so I never.
What age were you when that happened?
Very small. I was a kid. I was a small kid, so they were divorced for whatever reason. I won't go into that, but it's not important. But they were divorced, and I was brought up by my mother. My father was absent, and I grew up in a boarding school, St. Peter's School in Masgon. I grew up over there, and so I actually didn't have any kind of indoctrination in anyone. I was basically left to think for myself and be a free thinker in all ways and find out things for myself. So if that could be the root of why I think freely and I'm able to express opinions, and even why I am opinionated sometimes very strongly about things.
What role did your mother have in your early years? What's the earliest memories you have of your mother?
My mother was not very educated. She was not a very educated. She had a minimal education, and but she was a very good mother. She did all the right things because I am extremely grateful to her for putting me into a boarding school. It was an Anglo-Indian boarding school, and so I was shielded from the problems that she faced in her life, and and she had no support. Now that I'm at this age, I realize that my mother, what challenges she faced to bring us up, and so I really am very grateful to her. Some of the gratitude that pours out now is a bit too late because she's gone. I wish I had realized all these things. She passed away in 2008.
So sorry.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, one of the people I listen to very frequently, probably Sadhguru, in one of his recent podcasts, he made this comparison. He says his own mother was there for him, and the best thing she gave him was care. Whenever he needed it, she gave him care. Nothing else. And for him, that's the main thing which mattered. Now, if you look at women today, right, when they work, a lot of women have, work, and then they come back and they care for their kids. So how do you see this way the society has changed today? And reflect on how you grew up, where your mother was the caretaker, the main caretaker for you, and today you find this whole role of women is completely changed, where they handle multiple roles. Mm-hmm. What's your take on this in general? Okay, is it even there?
So I think what you are actually bordering on is the modern woman, which is the feminist,
Yeah.
Compared to my mother, who would be considered wouldn't actually fit into that mold. But I think my mother was the actual feminist. She was the actual one who was what you call a strong woman, because without making a big show of it, she battled her problems without showing anybody. And she had her insecurities. She had a book on the table, and I picked it up. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. So that tells me that she had a lot of worry. And yet she never told anybody all this. She just went about life doing everything, just carrying on day by day, hoping to see better days. So
I love this memory of your mother. This is not the tone I thought I would start this podcast on, but I'm really glad it started this way. So who was a male authority figure in your life, or did you have one, or do you think you never needed one?
No, I had no male authority figure in my life. I grew up with dormitory masters and other boarders, about 40 of them in school. And we just, being in a boarding school, you had to fend for yourself. And you had to take care of yourself. And you, of course, at a young age, you tried to follow. You could have gone the right way or the wrong way, depending on whom you followed. So fortunately for me, I was into fitness even then in school. So and I never started smoking, unlike many of my peers who took to smoking in school or in college. I never, because I was into fitness even then.
What did you do specifically?
I did pull-ups, push-ups. Yeah.
Were you playing sports during?
Yeah. Football, hockey, cricket. Yeah.
All three?
Yeah. All three.
Nice.
And I was a long distance runner, medium distance runner, 800 meters.
Did you go at a certain level?
No. It was my interest. I felt that I was more suited to that distance rather than the longer distances or the shorter sprints or something like that.
This is a boarding school culture, Mario. I've noticed this. In a boarding school environment, right? Whoever I have met from boarding school thus far, all of them seem to have a proclivity to be in sports. They are very sorted mentally. They're okay to be by themselves. They're not afraid of, I won't say to the level he is, and we'll get to that, but they're not afraid of confrontation of any kind.
So more independent thinkers, right?
I wouldn't generalize that way about all in the boarding school, because some of my peers became drug addicts. Some of them died early for various reasons. I don't know. So I can't actually say that boarding school turned out a kind of a conveyor belt type, everybody the same. Yeah. Now my brother and I have an elder brother. He's a year and a half older than me. Uh, he's he's not interested in fitness or anything. He's over 120 kilos, and he he has been like that. He likes to sit in a chair. So that's him. So
So your mother?
and he was not into so much into sports. So the same school, same family, but we grow in different directions. It could be.
It's very interesting about the, I want to ask you about nature versus nurture, but I was about to ask you, so it was your mother, your brother, and you, all three of
I
you?
had a sister also. I had a sister. I'm saying had because she died. My sister, unfortunately, at the age of 18, I don't know what is the exact reason, but we tend to put it at a breakup, a romantic breakup, that did something to her, and she became schizophrenic at the age of 18. She had a boyfriend called, I think that's his name, and they were in love, and he left for America and promised to take her, and then from there he just told her that he's not coming back. So something happened to her. She flipped, and thereafter she was always like schizophrenic, writing on the walls, and she could be absolutely normal, have a very good a normal conversation, an intelligent conversation, but then she would laugh at the weirdest of things, something sad, she might laugh, so it was tough.
Sanjiv, I'm going to make an assumption about you, and please point out that this assumption is flawed. Here's the assumption. I feel like whatever are the worst things that could have happened to anyone has happened to you already. So you're not afraid of anyone saying something to you. You're not afraid of anything that life is going to throw at you, because you're like, what more can you do? Would that be a fair assumption?
I think I've developed that over time. It's not, I don't think it is just and I don't really believe I've had the worst life, It could have, there are people who have had things worse than me, far worse than me. I at least had a sheltered life in a boarding school. My mother sheltered me from all the problems of life. So I've had a middle class upbringing, and the key thing is that I've been free to think for myself, and I don't know why. You may identify why, the reason, psychological reason, but I kind of find a lot of BS in society, which so there's an entire ocean of that available. So I've found myself expressing opinions on a lot of things, on many subjects. It could extend from religion to the stock markets, to relationships, to even in Toastmasters, So,
What was the platform you used to begin expressing your opinions? Did you start in school itself? Were you
no,
very
in school,
confrontational?
it would be that in school we had to say prayers when we were before going to sleep at night, and kneel on the ground. So that ground was very hard, and I didn't like it, and I had to recite the names of all the people, make sure I don't miss out anyone, So that was a very laborious and boring task, and I started questioning. And since I didn't have a home where I went back and it was reinforced, I was free to then question this, why am I doing this? And so from a very early age, I was not happy with that. And that could be the starting point. And then, of course, the school sent us all to church every morning before school. We were sent to the chapel, and so I didn't like it also. Then the non-Christians in the school, the parents requested the school to stop sending their children to church. So so the school agreed, and we were allowed to remain in the dormitory while the Christians went to church in the morning. Okay.
Because of religion, different religions.
Yeah, the school was a Christian school.
Okay.
It was a Christian school,
So
and
Hindus don't have
in
to go.
those days it wasn't. It was nobody felt offended. Everyone went to church. Everyone. But then there were a few Muslims and a few Hindus, and I didn't know where I was on this. I was neither a Christian nor a Hindu, so it was more fun being in the dormitory because in the dormitory, we took off the mattress from the steel beds which we had, put books in between, and start playing table tennis while they were in the church. So I found this was far better than going to church.
So interestingly, your first tryst with religion was with Christianity,
Christianity.
although you were
With
Hindu, it was with
Christianity,
Christianity.
yeah.
So do you think that this whole notion of you being forced to a place of worship when you didn't want to go is the root of what formed your opinion on religion on the whole as being something which instead of you are attracted to, you are being driven towards, and therefore...
I don't think so. I don't think it's the force. It is childhood. As a child, I would naturally gravitate towards what's more fun. And going to church is not so much fun. It's not fun. You kneel over there in the pews, and we didn't have cushions and all. At that time, we just had wood. And we were wearing short pants, so it used to hurt. So that is the thing. But if you want to know what actually, as I grew older, I did start reading books. And I remember one time when I had two books. One was by what was that? The Bhagavad Gita by I think it was by the Hare Krishna group, the Chinmayan and but I don't know who's that.
ISKCON Temple.
Yeah, I had gone to one library in Colaba next to Rhythm House, and I bought it, a big fat book.
Okay.
And at the same time, I had another book by Abraham Kovoor. He was a rationalist from the south, from Tamil Nadu.
Never heard.
And
Okay.
Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the name of that book was something to the effect. Forgive me. It was "Begone, God Men." Yeah. So I had both these in my mind, and I had a friend called Warren, whom I used to discuss both these angles with him. I was not an atheist at that time. I'm not sure where, but I was a questioning person even then, and I kind of liked what Abraham Kovoor was saying. It was more simple to understand. It was more grounded in reality. Yeah. So, and more testable. Whereas what the other book was saying was not interesting at all. It was kind of boring.
So tell me, to be fair to religion, have you ever tried it out? I mean, did you
Yes, I
ever
have.
dip your feet into it? Have you ever had a surreal experience of the conscious kind where you feel that there is something here worth pursuing?
No, I can't say I've had a surreal experience, but I have closed my eyes and tried to imagine that I'm talking to someone and that person's talking back to me. And yes, that person talks back to me until I realize later that I'm talking to myself. It's self-talk. It's basically self-talk. Talking into a void and I'm getting answers, right? But it's self-talk. That's what I figured that out. And as soon as I stopped talking to it, it stopped talking back. So it's okay. It's self-talk.
I'll sidestep a little bit to just tell you my experience, since the question of
Yeah.
surrealness came out. During my engineering, I was participating in this debate, and it was a fun debate. I loved debating. I won. Everything was fine, and during the debate, what ended up happening was I won, but I started feeling really terrible about what I was saying. I kept hearing a voice from inside me saying, "Krishna, you don't believe what you're saying. Absolute rubbish. Stop talking." But I kept talking and I won the debate. But I was very curious about why was I feeling this way. And since that day, I've tried my best to listen to that voice, whether what I'm saying makes sense or not. So what ends up happening is, very often I'll interrupt myself. I'll say something, wait, I don't believe that. I actually believe this. Even if it's controversial, because I want to say it and I want people to tell me why am I wrong, if I'm wrong, or I want people to start thinking as to why they believe the opposite of it. So for me, that experience was my connection with God. For me, it was something deciding to point me in a particular direction and then telling me, take a few steps and see for yourself. Right? Me and Mario keep speaking about Jacob's ladder, and we'll come to that in some other time. I want to come back to your boarding school. You were there in boarding school for how many years?
10 years.
10 years. So until 10th standard.
Yeah.
What happened after?
After that, I went to college.
In Pune, in
No,
Bombay?
in Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yeah.
And after, in college, you were staying with your mom at the time, yes?
Yeah,
Staying.
I lived in Colaba at that time.
I've always wanted, this was what year?
This was entire 70s.
What was Colaba like in the 70s?
it was not what it is now, I guess, but it was nice. It was nice because I remember going to Colaba market and getting a cycle and with my brother and some other friend. We cycle around all the way to Navy Nagar, and Cuff Parade was not. There was a time when Cuff Parade was not there. So I have actually got spanking from my stepfather. I had a stepfather. For myself, my brother and a friend called Malin, we were small little guys. We went to the waterfront. There were no towers over there. There was no Cuff Parade. And we got into a fisherman's boat, a small boat. And he came, my stepdad turned up right in time and he pulled us back. And he gave us a spanking, all of us, for trying to go, we would have gone off, That was Cuff Parade. I mean, I've seen the shore, Cuff Parade shore, when the sea was right there.
I didn't know you had a stepfather, so when did that happen?
He was since I was a kid.
Okay, so your mom remarried?
No, my mom remarried late to him.
You were already in boarding school at that
I
time?
was in boarding school. Throughout my boarding school, he was a Parsi. Yeah.
These days, you should use the phrase spanking very cautiously, right, Mr. Bhagat?
I knew your brain has to go there. That is such a useless brain you have.
So were there these black and yellow cabs in
Yes.
the Bombay of old?
Yes, all over. Yes.
Still?
Ambassadors
Were
were
there red buses?
Can you describe the streets?
No,
as they were?
Were there red
you're
buses?
making me out to
Was
be.
there a Premier Padmini?
I'm not that old.
What missions are these?
Were there all these kebab places down in South Bombay and
Yeah, Bade Mia.
the famous restaurant where the attack happened?
Oh yeah, Leopold. Yeah.
Leopold.
Yeah.
So were there still tourists pouring into Bombay then, or was
Not
it
yes,
Bombay?
of course, but not like it became later. But yes, of course. We never noticed it. We never thought too much about it. That Colaba is a tourist place or something.
What was the minimum rate for a rickshaw then? Do you remember?
There were no rickshaws there.
Oh, only cabs.
I don't remember the taxis now, but I remember buying bus tickets for I think 50 paisa.
Even I remember that.
50
So
paisa
I'm
or
that
even
old.
less, I think. Yeah.
Even I bought bus tickets for 50.
Clearly, I'm much younger than you.
Yeah, fine. Enjoy that. So, Sanjiv, you mentioned that you didn't have a male authority figure in your life. You were in boarding school until 10th.
Yeah.
And then you were a young man in Colaba, in a
Yeah.
very happening part of India. You were probably the most happening part of India.
Yeah.
No male authority figure.
Yeah.
How did you not end up in drugs, or how did you not end up losing your way?
Yeah, actually, I was against all kind of drugs or smoking or drinking and all that. I remember my mother and my stepfather having drinks, and I was not able to sleep because they would talk very loudly and all this, and I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning and down 4 eggs, and then run from Woodhouse Road where that Charag Din is all the way to Chowpatty. I used to run there till that distance and come back. That was my routine every day. So I had to get up early, and I was getting angry with them, and I remember taking my stepdad's drink and tossing it out, throwing his drink away.
How old were you?
I must have been about, this must have been when I was on holiday, when I had, just come back. So, because I used to do my running in school also. So when I was at home, I used to run from Colaba to Chowpatty. So I would have been, it could have been somewhere around 11, 12, 13.
So maybe in your case, to take off where you left off, maybe Sanjeev didn't need that male figure because his mom had very strong character. Did you look at your mom and her strong character and take encouragement for that? So did you really need a male figure? Because from what I see, I think your mom was strong enough to play that role.
I mean, I think about all those things now, but at that time I didn't think my mom was a strong person or anything. I had no idea what is a strong person. I didn't have that frame of what is a strong person. I only knew that my mom was a person who's got nobody to help her in case. I now that I think back, I get frightened at the way she brought us up. The no support system, no safety net, nothing. So and yet we just sailed through. We didn't think about it at that time.
Did you have support financially growing up from someone other than your mom?
No.
It's
no.
all your mom,
Yeah,
everything from
yeah,
start to finish.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, your mom paid for. I'm guessing boarding school wasn't
Boarding
cheap
was
even then.
no, it was. I remember the fee for my brother, sister, and myself was maybe when we were leaving. It must have been about $1,000 or so at that time.
Wow.
I think it was not so expensive. I'm talking about the late 70s.
That's not too bad.
My brother left in the 78. I should have ended schooling in 79. But our school changed over from the calendar year Jan to December and moved to the March ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a three months and more of schooling. So I actually left school in 1980 instead of 79.
So you have already done a confrontational act. I don't think at 12 years of my age I would have had the guts to throw a bottle of my father or stepfather
No,
if I had one.
to be specific, a drink.
Right? But you did that.
Yeah, I did that.
What happened before that made you do that? And what happened after you did that?
Yeah, I was hot-blooded and I was into fitness and kind of I did not respect what was going on, the drinking and all this. It was totally counter to what I was doing. So I was ready for. I mean, when you're young and hot-blooded, you don't think of consequences and all as much as you think of it now. You don't. My stepfather, I have great admiration for him because he was a very patient and mature person in a sense. He actually looked upon it as a good thing. He actually praised me afterwards for throwing away his drink because I have to go in the morning to run. He actually admired it. He didn't get angry.
Was that your first source of validation?
Maybe, I don't know. We all get validation. Maybe that is one. Yeah.
Has anyone ever, at that age I'm speaking specifically, while you were in school and while you were still in boarding school, has anyone ever told you, Sanjiv, you're too violent, you're too confrontational, learn to be diplomatic, learn to be tactful? Did anyone come and give you that kind of advice?
No, not in school at least.
Not in school,
no.
Right? So you do that, you get validation, you're still into fitness, you're out of boarding school, 11, 12. What happens after 11, 12? You worked at where?
I worked a number of jobs, some low-level jobs, and then of course my last job was in a company called Wärtsilä India Limited, which is an engineering company, which I was in the sales department of Wärtsilä.
So before that, what made you choose the line of work?
No, I had honestly, Mario, I was from the confused generation. If you had parents who gave you direction, then you had a proper path in life. You were in the right soil, as so to speak. But if you didn't, then you kept on trying out different things. You didn't know what to do. For example, there were two guys in my school, in my class, from first standard to the 10th standard. One was, I won't take their names, but one was a Parsi and the other was a Muslim. This Muslim was a academic type of Muslim, the Dilton Doily type of guy. They sat in the front row and they competed to come first in class. Both of them. They aced it always. Yeah. As an adult, I checked after Facebook came along and all. I checked on Google and all. Where are these guys? I couldn't find the Parsi guys. I couldn't find anything about him. But I found out about the Muslim guy. He had become a pediatric cancer surgeon at the Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York. And I remember very clearly that he, whenever asked, what do you want to do? He said, I want to become a doctor. Right from a small kid, he said he wants to become a doctor. So he probably had that family environment where he knew exactly what he's going to do. So it makes a difference, if you have those people, those adults who actually spot what you are good for, which soil you will flourish in more. So that's That's one
No,
thing.
but among classmates, I'm quite sure it would have been discussed, after your 10th standard, 11th. What do you want to do? Which path do you want to take? What were some of your peers discussing, and how did that not
I
impact
don't think I had that experience. I don't know if people have that experience here, but just after school, we were so happy to be out of boarding school. We just disappeared and hardly met. I met some of my boarding school friends after 30 years because of they found me on Facebook and I found so.
You said you had a lot of jobs after 11, 12. Again, I'm going to ask you the point blank question. Were any of those jobs because you were confrontational, because you were not willing to take anything from anyone?
Because I was not, because I didn't have any guidance. I didn't know which direction to go into. I really didn't know.
So you got bored in the job and you left it and said, okay, no, this is not for me.
Not bored, but they were basically jobs, what I would call bill-paying jobs. They were not it was just you want to finish your job and get out. Okay, that's that kind of a job. Like nowadays, people actually know what they want to do. They can do career counseling. They can go on YouTube. They can listen to various options and then come to a decision, an informed decision about which direction they want to go into. But at least there were people, there probably was at that time, but I didn't actually have that. There was one pretty good tip I read in a Dale Carnegie book, that go and find the leader in the field, in any field. Say for an example, an architect. Go and, as a young man, go to his office, ask him for some time to sit and chat with him, so I didn't do that. It was good advice actually,
But when did you start this reading habit of yours? Do you remember what was the first book you picked up?
I think I've always liked to read. I read, I was reading novels in school. Louis L'Amour, I don't know if you remember Louis L'Amour, those who are Western
Never heard
gunfight.
the name.
Then there was another series of books by Sudden. These are, I think,
Never
I'm
heard.
dating
Wow.
myself because these are
Three
very
books
old.
I've not heard.
Sudden was a gunfighting Western hero, Sudden. It's a series of books, Sudden. And then there's the Louis L'Amour books, and then I was immersed in James Hadley Chase.
Finally.
James
One author I
Hadley
recognize.
Chase, yeah.
Okay.
And then as a kid, I read Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Okay, the Hardy Boys, yeah. Not Enid Blyton, because that was for the girly books. So.
Yeah, I read
And I
Enid
love
Blyton.
comics.
I read
I used to have piles of comics. My favorite characters were Mandrake. I don't know if you remember Mandrake.
Yeah, I've read Mandrake.
Mandrake and
Phantom.
yeah, the current heroes, what we see, the superheroes were not really my heroes. The Batman and Spider-Man were not my heroes. Superman was more of a hero for me. That's why it surprises me why Batman and Spider-Man are so popular, whereas Superman was more popular. And as for a character like Mandrake, he's just disappeared. So, and then I just loved the Asterix comics and
I love
and
Asterix.
Asterix,
Goscinny and Uderzo.
yeah, and Tintin.
Tintin, of
Herge.
course.
Yeah, I read all of them,
Herge,
and
Herge.
also read them again and again, and I'll read them again even now. In Tintin you have that what's his Captain Captain Haddock, the drunkard.
It's so weird. Just yesterday we had gone shopping and my daughter was in Crossword. And
Can
she,
I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
And she goes towards the comics and she actually picks up the Calculus Affair Tintin. And she was just like flipping through and I was like, please pick it up, please pick it up. But she put it back down. I think she'll pick, I'll give it to her at some stage. I think she can read Tintin and Asterix, maybe a little too early now. Mandrake, I think for people who've not heard of Mandrake is I think what Doctor Strange has become now.
Okay.
Doctor Strange and Marvel is pretty much what Mandrake was in the same attire pretty much. He also has the same
Then
look.
yeah. There were a couple of others. One was Phantom and the
Phantom.
other was Tarzan.
Tarzan. Yeah.
Tarzan.
Is Tarzan an Indian comic book character?
No.
He's not, right?
No.
Mowgli is Indian. I don't think Tarzan ever
he's
was.
actually he's got a double life. Like he's Lord Greystroke, I think. That's his name.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tarzan.
Did you know
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't. So, when did you switch from fiction to non-fiction? Was it smooth, or did you just, or do you
I
even
can't
read
actually,
non-fiction?
I can't actually, Mario, I can't actually determine exactly when, I switched. I was very interested in history, so I loved history, and it was initially triggered by those little black and white comics used to come, war comics. You remember? I don't know if you.
Yes, I
war
have read
comics.
those. Yes, yes.
Okay,
World
so
War
you
II.
had all those. I'm sorry, the Germans, and you had the British and the Americans. So
I've read those.
so I was
mostly
I
World
was
War II.
heavily influenced into taking the side of the Allies and going against Hitler and his. History was very interesting to me. Yeah, I also yes, I would say another set of comic books which influenced me were the Amar Chitra Katha, all of Indian mythology, and then there was Chanda Mama.
Yeah, Chanda Mama.
I don't know if it's still around. Okay, these
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Chanda Mama in any store, in any of the metro stores. I haven't seen Tinkle anywhere.
So I was a reader, Mario, and I can't really determine the point at which I transitioned into more serious reading, but I think it transitioned gradually from history and other interests and all this. And
So did reading a lot of books make you a better thinker and help you find the line of work which you feel you really would excel in?
I don't think so. Because I don't actually consider, maybe it's my experiences in life, or which I don't really consider the line of work as determining a person's, personality or the character or the person he is. I actually, instead of asking people, what do you do? Which 5 people may say, I am a chartered accountant, and I learn nothing about them except that they are 5 chartered accountants, right? I would rather ask them what interests you, what books do you read. That gives me a better picture of a person than just because this is and there's a book by a lady, I think her name is Lyle Lowndes. She wrote 92 tips and tricks, social tricks or whatever. And she says, she actually says that this is the most useless question you can ask, because 5 chartered accountants, one may be a wife beater, another person may be, he may be holy, devout or whatever. You don't know anything about the person from their profession. You can't. You only come to know what they do to earn a living. That's what you come to know.
I wouldn't argue with that. I think that makes sense, right? You can't know. In fact, I would argue you can't know anybody within the first 5 minutes, and I'm very jealous of people who are able to tell a personality of someone within 5 minutes. I can't do it.
For example, the person who can say it gets an advantage in, because he proudly says it. Now, my friend in the Sloan Kettering, he will proudly say, I'm a pediatric cancer surgeon, right? And the person who has been drifting, he can't say it,
that's a good
good
way
he can't
to know.
actually say it. Though both may have different values, may have picked up values and evolved as a person over the years, you will not find that out just by the titles that you.
But you could find out by the tone in which they tell you what they do.
It could be, yeah.
Right? Like if someone says, I'm a cancer surgeon, that tells a lot. This is something you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Someone says, I'm a doctor. You would be like, okay, the parents forced you.
Yeah.
So, you're a chartered accountant, right?
Hmm.
So, one of the most famous professions in Bombay, Mumbai, chartered accountancy, was it still big game back in the day? Because it's still big game now. A lot of people still. So what drove you toward it? Was it just the fact that everyone's doing it, there's a lot of money to be made here? Or did you see something more before you jump in? Did you like your whole journey as a CA? What has it taught you?
No, I'm not a CA. I'm not a CA. I'm not a CA, but I have a bent towards being analytical.
Okay.
I'm analytical, I'm critical. I practice skepticism as a starting point. So I'm very suited towards the financial disciplines, especially the stock markets. So that is the area that I really love. If you ask me, I can stay up all night, discussing stocks or something like that.
So let's get into that. So according to me, I have a two-step process for picking out a stock. According to me, first thing I look is the cash flow from operating, is it positive for at least a few years, and has it been growing? Growing is good, positive is still okay. And then what is the return on capital employed? That is one of my favorite financial metrics.
Very good.
I feel like return on capital employed, if it is more than inflation plus after-tax inflation, then that's a decent company to put your money in.
Yeah.
ROC is down. So return on capital employed is basically your EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, divided by the capital employed. That gives you a percentage of, so how much money is, if you put money in this, how much is the profit generating as a result of it?
It's basically return on capital employed would be that a company makes a profit, net profit after tax, right? Now it distributes some as dividend and keeps some back, right? Plows it back. Simply put, is it earning better returns on that plowed back money than I could have earned?
Yes. Opportunity cost.
If it's earning less than that, if it's earning less than what I could have earned, then it should have given me the money.
Yes.
What about the famous ratios, P ratios, which you
P ratio
normally
can
hear
be
people
manipulated.
say?
Anyone who has a basic finance degree will know how to manipulate P ratio. This is very easy to manipulate.
But you know, the problem is whenever you watch these professionals on screen, they keep flouting this P ratio all the time. The P ratio is dropped. Now it's reaching this value. So I mean, I know, but why is there so much focus on this P ratio then?
It is a handy tool, but you got to use it judiciously. You know, you may want to compare the P ratio of the company with its own P ratio. You know, historical P ratio. That would be a better thing. P ratio gives you an indication of the confidence that the overall investing community has in that company. You know, or maybe overconfidence also. They may be giving it, like for DMart, for example, has a P ratio over 100, right?
Which stock's given you your best return ever? If that's off the top of your head.
I can't remember, but I can't exactly remember
Some
which
of them?
one. I've got many winners. One was Indian Hotels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Indian Hotels. And I was buying Indian Hotels when the Taj was burning. It's the Taj group of hotels, So another is Colgate, and I've lost. I would say I've left money on the table in a number of stocks. Okay. So now during COVID, I bought HAL.
Okay.
500 I bought for 5 lakhs. It's become a 8-bagger. It's gone up about 8 times. Yeah, but I sold out early, so that's one of those. So those are learnings along the way. There's a very book that I would suggest reading is Big Mistakes. Greatest investors and their biggest mistakes. Yeah, you'll get all the everybody's made mistakes. Everybody. It's a journey. Nobody gets it right. And you may never get it right.
Conscious of my own pride that of all the books he's mentioned, I only could relate to James Hadley Chase. Every other book I've never heard of. Okay. I'm very conscious of my own pride when I say I read a lot. Clearly, I do not.
Okay. Imagine my plight.
I never even heard of these books. Greatest Mistakes. I'm going to check it out.
If I may introduce over here, since we are on the subject of finance, and you were talking about what is that word you all used from The Secret? What's that word?
Manifest.
Manifest. Okay. I don't know about. I've not read The Secret. Somehow I have an allergy to people in beards and robes, sadhus and all these kind of, the holy men. I've got a bias against them. I don't listen to them only because similarly, The Secret seemed to be kind of a book like that, a lot of kind of stuff in the spiritual realm, which is not my cup of tea. So I didn't. But manifestation. Talking about manifestation, I do stand by that. That's a good idea. It is definitely good. I started after my wife passed away in 2020, not because of COVID. So I used to drink. I used to drink a lot, and I quit drinking. In 21, I stopped drinking, and I went and started. I've always been into some kind of fitness, always, even when I was drinking and eating junk. But I actually turned it all around. And what really helps me keep on track, what helps me actually be focused now on my fitness, is something which you may call, I call it a goal. The goal of living till 100 or past 100 and fit. And I've defined what is fit. I should be able to walk up the 6 floors that I live at. I live on the 6th floor. I should be able to walk up now I can run up in 45 seconds. But I should be able to walk up in about 3 to 4 minutes at 100. That would be fitness for me.
That's a decent goal.
Because many people kind of get a blank look on their face and they're not interested in this, because the thought is that what are you going to do with living till 100? Yeah, but you won't believe it. It has many benefits working backwards, and the benefits start now. I've already become far more fit. I'm fitter than my son, 35 years old. I have a 35-year-old son. I'm fitter than him. I'm fitter than my peers. And so it has helped me. Because I look at my body and I say to myself, this has to last for another 40 years. It has to last for another. So I take extra care of it now. I'm getting the benefit now. But also, I define a goal and an objective differently. This is my definition. An objective is, say you want to travel. The objective is to travel. The destination is the goal. So 100 years is the destination, it's the goal. But my objective is to have superior fitness at all ages. And I'm getting that now. The 100-year goal is helping me.
So it's objectives and key results, basically.
And,
objective is this thing, these are your key results. You want your objective to be that you want to be fit at 100.
Objective is to be fit and healthy.
And your key results are, okay, I should be able to jog up the steps.
I may not reach the goal.
Yeah.
I may not reach the goal. I may die at 85. It's okay. But the objective carries on.
It's a very healthy way of looking at life. I love it.
You could say I'm focused more on the objective rather than the goal. But the goal helps me. The goal tells me that, I got to. Say for example, I'll tell you, the 100-year lifespan goal has helped me to ponder on a subject which has got nothing to do with health. I pondered upon road rage. Every time on the road, you can die in an instant in a fight on the road, because people are very touchy about their car, getting scratched, or you bump someone or the other. So I focused on road rage. I said to myself, I've got to live till 100 and I'm driving a car, then I must know how to bring the temper down, the level of anger down as quickly as possible, without sounding condescending, without advising that person or anything. I have thought about it. This is the best line that I have got till now. In that moment, in that instance, how can I bring the temperature down? Because that is the first thing to do. And I have come up with this, that भाई साहब, गुस्से में और जल्दबाजी में सबका नुकसान होता है. चलो हम जरा बाजू में ले जाते हैं, आपकी भी जीत मेरी भी जीत. हम कैसे जीतते हैं दोनों? How can we win? How can both of us win? So this is I'm hoping this is the best line. I don't know if a road rage, if this will work on everybody.
Have you encountered a road rage?
Has it worked?
No, I have not put it to the test. I have not put it to the test, but I think it did save my life once.
It did?
Yeah.
What happened?
It was at a petrol pump. There were 2 lines. I have a CNG car, so there were 2 lines, and one guy was in the other line. He was honking a lot, and I was getting pissed off with him. So it just happened to be that we came to the pumps at the same time. He came past me. I just said, "Arey bhai, why are you in Hindi? Itna horn kyun maar rahe ho yaar?" He got vicious with me, and he started telling me, "You don't know who I am. You don't know what I can do with you. One chapad, this, that, I'll give you, and this." At this moment, the male ego gets hurt. But I had come prepared for such a situation. I was already prepared, because I know there are 3 3 places you don't want to go to. You don't want to go to the hospital, you don't want to go to the police station, and you don't want to go to the lawyer's office. These 3 places will clean your bank account out. Put the ego in the pocket. I cooled him down. I said, ठीक है, मुझे लगता है मैंने आपको कुछ, I told you something and you felt hurt. I'm sorry about it. No hospital, no police, no lawyer. Who's the winner? I walk away without any damage. He carries his attitude with him. Someone else will fix him. That's not my job. So this came from the 100-year lifespan goal. I want to live long. And I can't get snuffed out by a road rage incident.
How do you balance, sorry Mario,
No problem.
how do you balance that with the need to do the right thing? So there are cases where you may need to go to the hospital, you may need to go to the lawyer's office, you may need to go to the police station, because if you don't, someone else might be getting hurt, or it might be a situation where you need to say something, where you need to do something. How would you balance that need with ego? When do you identify when it's your ego talking and when it's a duty talking?
See, there is no ready-made formula for this. That's why that's why I am a person who has installed in my head the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Okay.
I roam about with it. I can rattle it off to you. I can discuss it all day long. It's my favorite subject because it is it's objective.
Yeah.
It's objective and not goal. It's objective because an objective is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
A goal is you've reached there. Its objective is maturity, and maturity is not a title that you get or a trophy. It is not static. Maturity is moment by moment. Just now, if I help myself to any sweets or something which went against my own objectives of staying healthy, then I'm doing the immature thing. I'm aware of it. So I've got the 7 habits installed in my head, and if I would need to use the first habit, which is personal responsibility, and also pause. Give time between the stimulus and the response. There's a stimulus and there is a response. So the more time I give myself to think about what I'm going to do next, I go to the next habit, which is begin with the end in mind. So as you're saying, how will I judge? I can't right now judge unless I actually encounter the situation. And then
How much time do you give yourself
for
judging? Because again, I'm
as
telling
long
you,
as
the
possible.
extremes, the opinions I have about you from people are extremes.
Yeah.
That you will confront, you will use your voice if necessary, you will get in someone's face if necessary. And you're saying that you also have this other side where you're thinking, okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
So how much time do you have
As
to
I told you, maturity is not fixed. It's a spectrum. It's a sliding scale. It's a continuum. You slide. In a day, we will slide towards high maturity and low maturity constantly. We slide back and forth. Moment by moment, we slide in our responses, in what we eat, how we treat our body, how we treat people, how we I may talk very respectfully to you, and then downstairs I may talk rudely to the Uber driver. Yeah.
Is this in our control, or is this something that happens?
It requires practice. It's like a bath. It's like, you got to constantly practice it. It's not like riding a cycle that you'll never forget it or something. It requires constant awareness and practice. And each time in the day, if I find that I have gone wrong, if I have slid towards the immature level doing something, I use habit number 1, which is personal responsibility. I do not point fingers outwards, I point it inwards.
So I have to call you out here.
Introspection.
I have to call you out
Yeah,
here.
do that.
Respectfully. But
Yeah.
the extreme is that you have pointed your finger. You have accused people and you have called them out on their BS, not in a bad way, but you have said that, look, what you're saying is not true,
Yeah.
and what you're doing is not fair, and you said this at a raised volume, and you said it publicly. Right? That's the extreme version of you I've heard from people.
Yeah.
That you have.
When was this?
This was, I think, 2016, 2016,
How
2017.
many years ago is that?
Yeah, so that's my question. Was that
And
something
if I am
that you
using
have?
the sliding scale of maturity, and if I am constantly in awareness of my own sliding back and forth, and I'm always introspecting and on the improvement path where I'm identifying things that did wrong and should not do, and the things that I did right and do more of that. If I have this mental model, then I've definitely evolved since that time, wouldn't I? I would have definitely evolved. Definitely.
I don't think you were wrong.
No,
Now-
maybe my approach at that time, the way of
I don't think it was wrong.
I'm guessing what Krishna's trying to say is.
No, I still want to speak on a general level. I don't want to get into the specifics of the incident in question.
Yeah, we are not going there.
I want to just understand that there are moments,
Yeah.
100% there are going to be moments where this is a situation, I'm not going to let this go. I am going to call you out on it, and maybe I'm coming from an angle that I want you to be better, or I'm coming from an angle that I want people behind me to be better. I'm not going to let you do this. I will be confrontational and I will be loud about it. In my head, that's not wrong. So my question to you is, when do you decide that, look, I have to say something, I'm not going to let this go, and I am going to fight for this?
Mm-hmm.
And when do you say, no, this is my ego talking, let me calm this down? As advice, what kind of advice would you give me that, look, this is when you know it's your ego talking, this is when you know it's for lack of a better word, duty talking?
Yeah, see, I'm evolving, I'm learning also, and I have learned that over time I'm learning that you give advice to people who actually will absorb it or benefit from it, or who have an open mind, and there are people whom it will have no effect on, and you will just, they won't get that framework from which you're coming, the frame of mind, so they will not like it also, they will feel offended. So I give you an example. I have a friend, Austin. I'm sorry I took his name, but okay. He is a Catholic, devout, and he and I are great friends. And he actually once he's from my office. He actually told me once, Sanjeev, the things you talk with me, I went and told my priest that he talks so many things, they make sense to me, Father. So what should I do? And the priest told him, stay away from Sanjiv Banerjee. Okay, yeah. So I'll give you an example. Now, the point I'm making over here is that is your advice, or is what you're trying to say going to land or not? In the case of Austin, it won't land. It does not land. Now, I am very well versed in the Bible. Yeah, I don't know chapter and verse, I can't quote, but I can tell you this story is there and that story. I can tell you. So there is a story about a man called David. You know David? David is, many people name their children after David because he's supposed to be a great person from the Bible. But David, one day his eyes fell on
General's wife.
on Bathsheba. She was the wife of Uriah, and David wanted Bathsheba. She was young and sexy. So David called Uriah, and he called Uriah and gave Uriah a scroll. In that was Uriah's death sentence. He told Uriah, go to the battlefront, give it to the commander there. When the commander opened it, send Uriah, it was written there, send Uriah into the thick of battle and abandon him there. Let him die. So Uriah died in battle, and David took Uriah's wife Bathsheba. When I told this to my Catholic friend, no, but he's still very great for us. So no, it doesn't land. It doesn't land.
And Bathsheba was Solomon's mom. King Solomon is
Maybe.
David and Bathsheba's child.
But do you know how the story ended?
Tell me, I don't know.
Yeah, so how the actual story ended was, so apparently the God of the Old Testament, Jehovah saw what happened and told David that you will pay for what you've done, and his firstborn son died. In fact, this is a separate discussion which I've had with my friend Krishna before that.
Are you Christian?
No, I love reading about all religions. I've read Quran, I have Bible right here, I have Quran somewhere, I have Bhagavad Gita everywhere.
In fact, this is a separate discussion with Krishna that, you cannot right a wrong by taking someone else's life. Punishment has to go to that person directly. This is a very separate discussion. But yeah, that.
But the point I was making in answer to you, that how do you decide whether you speak up or you don't speak up? in a particular situation. Yeah. There is one more book which has influenced me, Looking Out for Number One.
Never heard of it.
Looking Out for Number
I'm
One.
learning today,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And there's a chapter where the author talks about, he's placed the chapters into different hurdles, the reality hurdle, the financial hurdle, and one of them is the crusade hurdle. Many of us become crusaders. We want to crusade, and I'm against Modi and all this. I'm a crusader. Even now, I'm not. No one's really. I haven't reached. I'm still in that path. I'm aware of the mistake I'm doing. As I go back to the book, looking out for number one, and I play it again, the audiobook. So it keeps on hammering at me. Stop it. Stop the crusading. Okay. So these are things which are actually useless. It's a waste of time. I put it in the category of entertainment. Brian Tracy says that he's got that education to entertainment ratio. Education. So you should have a very high education compared to entertainment ratio in the day.
I love it. That's very powerful.
So,
having a higher education to entertainment ratio.
So this comes out, all this other stuff, this crusading and all is part of entertainment.
Alright, Stephen Covey, you've just been going on and on about him for the last, I think, half an hour. Why is he so important to you? I know he's written a famous book, a lot of people have read it, but I don't hear as much about him. Why is he so important to you, and what angles of the 7 habits of highly effective people listen to you? Can you just summarize it for our audience maybe, and maybe what impact it has in your life?
Okay, Stephen Covey himself is not important to me because there is one question about him that I wish I could ask him directly. Because 7 habits is about maturity. The end objective is maturity, and an awareness that maturity is a continuum. It is not. It's not a title. It's not fixed. It's not static. It's a moment by moment thing we do during the day. For example, if I'm a diabetic and I'm not supposed to have sugar, and I go and have it, then I am sliding towards the immaturity scale. So it's a sliding scale. Nobody is totally mature and nobody is immature totally. We slide. So Stephen Covey had he has a step ladder image in the book where the lowest level is dependence. The next is the independent, and the highest level is interdependent. So dependents tend to point fingers outward, blame people, look for scapegoats, expect others to come through first. And independents take responsibility. They look at their role in everything. And the highest level are the interdependent type of people who understand synergy, that 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4, it may equal 20. 1 plus 1 is 11. That's what it is. So this is the thing. I am more concerned with the contents of the book and the subject of maturity, because Stephen Covey did a great job. He introduces it in the beginning of the book that he and his team went through 200 years of success literature, and he roughly divides it into 150, the earlier 150 and 50. So the earlier 150 years was based on the character, and the 50 years closer to our time is based on is more personality ethic.
What's the difference between
the personality is more outer focused. Tactics, tricks, looking good, impressing people, your image, all these kind of, and the character ethic is more inside. It takes a longer time to change. For example, you go into a village and you see a beautiful girl, a villager girl, she's cutting rice in the fields, she's spotting over there. You can bring her to the city, and in one day you can do a makeover of her and make her look like a modern college girl. You can do that in one day, but you can't change her inside. Inside takes a lot longer. Sometimes it takes a whole lifetime, and it's an ongoing process. So the character ethic so that is why it is very important to me. It's at the root of a lot of the problems in the world that we see. All the politics and the wars and all the differences that people have. A lot of that can be solved if we just understand that this is all boils down to maturity.
That's right. Go ahead.
I agree with you on a fundamental level that there is a character requirement to be in politics. On the pragmatic side, you do need to get votes, right? Votes are given by people. People will be on various ranges of the maturity spectrum, as you said. Now, you can either go to every single person and ask for their vote, or you can start speaking to the general public. I feel like once you start speaking to the general public, do you start to lose a little bit of your character?
When you start speaking to the general public,
Because now you have to cater to not just one person. So you're not catering to Hindus, you're not catering to Muslims, you're not catering to Christians, you're trying to cater to everybody.
Yeah.
For example, the whole Achhe Din, the whole development of the entire country, that was a general country message.
Okay.
Whether you agree with what
You're talking about a populist leader.
Yes.
We have populist leaders who have become famous. I mean, who have taken over power and leading. Okay, there's been a whole wave ever since social media came along.
So once you do that, you can't really take a stand as much as you used to, except on very serious, very core topics. Right? There are some topics which which are precious to you. You will not compromise on them. There are some which are not that much. Your circle of influence and your circle of concern. Once you're in politics, my perception is that your circle of influence becomes very small and your circle of concern keeps going bigger and bigger. And to try and control that, you need to start playing politics.
Okay, again I'll go back to the 7 habits, and here we come to the concept. I like to talk concepts because it's not about people or personalities. Those are the result, they are the symptom of a malay which is more hidden, you know. So the problem lies with which approach are they taking. So there is efficiency and there is effectiveness. Efficiency.
Okay.
Yeah. Efficiency is focused on a result.
Okay.
A result. Whereas effectiveness is focused on consistency of result. Consistency of result. Our constitution, for example, is focused on consistency of the nation continuing. Leaders may come and use efficient methods. You know, the Hindu-Muslim polarization is an efficient method to get votes, but it is not something which will consistently work. It will not work consistently. It will work for some time. It may even allow the person trying it to become a dictator. It may allow him to do that. But even then, efficiency focus will not work in the long term because it's being used for the wrong thing. With people, as Stephen Covey says, with people you use effectiveness. Effectiveness is focusing on getting consistent results. It's taking care of the goose. It's taking care of the body. My 100-year goal is based on effectiveness, not efficiency. I want my body to keep working well, as long as it can.
I'll tell you where I end up not understanding politics. Simple economics, right? We print a lot of money, there's going to be inflation. If I have to try and explain that to someone who doesn't have money, they're like, why do you have money, not have money? Why just print and give me? And I try to explain inflation to it. Mostly give me a slap, just give me money, I'm not able to survive. When a politician is going and talking, I will give you freebies, I will give you subsidies, I will make sure that you can get this. That person will get happy. Now, I understand that giving subsidies means you're taking money from taxpayers, instead of applying it into the country, you're giving free stuff to other people, which is a short-term gain. I understand that. The general public may not understand that. The general public will get the freebie. Now, if I'm a political leader who doesn't really want to do it, but I want to make sure I'm in power so that I can do other things. If I decide to say, okay, let me give some subsidy and let me do most of it and the rest I'll put it here, so let me say this on stage. Does that make me an unethical leader, or does that make me someone who is pragmatic?
This is not a moral question over here. This is about which path you've chosen, efficiency or you've chosen effectiveness.
Am I efficient or effective?
You're practicing efficiency. Yes, in the short term, efficiency will win. Yeah, it's easier to call up, Swiggy or Zomato and order food. Yeah, it takes longer to cook food.
Agreed.
Yeah, but the person who takes the trouble to cook food will have consistently better health than the person who's eating junk food.
But Sanjeev, isn't the best way to effectiveness through efficiency?
They are.
How can you be effective without being
neither,
efficient?
They are not. Neither of them is bad or good. It's not good or bad. I'm not against efficiency. It is the use of efficiency and the use of the awareness of what you're using. Which one are you using at the time? Now, in the case of people, like for example, if I'm an LIC salesman or any other salesman, if I'm efficient, I will use all the tactics on you to make you buy my product so that I can sell policies to you. I get my commission, whether you benefit or not. I'm not bothered about that. I'm not bothered. I've got a big one. You regret afterwards. Okay? I'm efficient. I've got big numbers. I get the trophy and all that stuff. But I've killed the goose. I've spoiled. So this is the.
Let me interrupt you here because I'll tell you where that argument doesn't work in politics. In politics, the people will get the subsidy, they'll be happy, they'll vote for you again.
Yeah.
Whereas for the LIC guy, once you sell a bad policy to a customer, that customer will be, hey, no, I bought from you last time and you made me in trouble, I will not buy from you again.
Yeah.
So that will multiply over time, that no, this person's a bad salesman, I'm not buying from him. Whereas for a politician, and we've seen it in India, right? The Communist Party was in power for a long time.
Yes.
There were so many Uttar Pradesh elections very recently, for no reason we gave a lot of Bangalore, we gave so many subsidies in Karnataka.
Yeah.
Both parties, right? In my mind, all political parties in India resort to freebies a lot to try and get votes.
Yeah.
And once they get votes, what they do with that money, they do distribute subsidy and they do use it for development.
Yeah.
How unethical is it, according to you, for people to choose pragmatism or to choose efficiency instead of effectiveness? Is efficiency effectiveness on a scale?
It is, again, I told you, it is not a question of ethics. It's not about ethics. It's about what do you want? What do you want? Short-term success? Short-term could be a few. Or do you want long-term success? It depends on which success you want. Now, for example, I have a mental model called the pedestal. I examine the pedestal, and on the pedestal there are a lot of things which have been put there by society, and which were not put by me there.
Example?
I have, like for example, let's take food for example.
Okay.
Food is happiness. Food and happiness. Okay, the connection between food and happiness, or food and the good life. I used to have a model of there's no frame, no picture of the good life without a glass of beer. That kept me alcoholic. I was drinking because I had that image.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Understood.
If I'm going off topic, just tell me, because
No, I understood the example.
You bring
Please
me
go
back to what I was, because I may meander off onto.
No, that example is perfect. I've understood. You're
Okay.
saying that someone,
So-
the picture you painted of happiness, that picture, you're questioning the picture.
And that picture used to get me a lot of laughs and a lot of cheers, and I used to feel good to my ego. I made everyone laugh. The beer drinking guy, great fellow. Everybody wants someone of cheer, that they don't want someone who's telling you to eat 1.5 meals a day, right? They equate that with a miserable life, right? So I have taken food down from the pedestal. I'm not miserable.
You have.
I am not miserable at all.
People haven't.
No, they haven't.
But I need their votes. What do I do?
No, we are talking about efficiency versus effectiveness.
I'm saying that the leaders of today, the
leaders will choose, politicians will choose efficiency.
Right.
They will choose efficiency.
But this is why.
Because it's easier to tell lies, it's easier to make false promises, tall promises. It's easier, okay? You go about doing all that. Right? That's fine. We have efficiency in politics. We have efficiency in the politics. But at the constitution level, the foundation of our nation, we have effectiveness. And our foundation of our nation is based on effectiveness, not on efficiency. It is based on slow things.
No argument there.
Slow things like justice, liberty. We've not achieved it. But we aspire to achieve it still. We may not have achieved it. Justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. Yeah. Now, for example, Modi is directly attacking fraternity. Fraternity means getting along together.
In what way?
Let's get along. By painting Muslims as the root of all the problems in the country, and it's better if they go.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen it? I have experienced it. There is a person, I won't name him. If you may want to guess, he is someone with a CV which is like a booklet, a fat CV. He's an author. He's this, that. He was district director once. So you can figure at Toastmasters. He used to be, and he used to actually, he had actually been brainwashed into hatred, pure, unadulterated hatred against Muslims. I couldn't believe it. This person in the public domain, he's a leader and all cheerful and even shaking hands with people who are Muslims. But privately on WhatsApp, he's spewing venom. So this helps the politician. It helps because it polarizes.
What happened? What did he say that was hatred filled? And
like he agreed with genocide, for example, of Muslims.
Genocide where?
Genocide of Muslims.
As in India, all Muslims should be killed.
See, the most efficient way to get rid of somebody is to kill that person. It's the most efficient.
He said that we should kill all Muslims in India.
He said
I don't think Modi's ever said that.
I'm not saying Modi said it. Modi will never say those things. He will insinuate.
Okay,
he will insinuate that this is a problem, and then it stews inside you. What he does, he lights the spark, which is already, the fuel is already there in you. Throughout your upbringing, you have not liked that community, or you don't like somebody or whatever, and it's never really exploded. But you need a spark.
I can't see the insinuation.
So maybe this is the problem. Who put the gunpowder there in the first place? You're blaming somebody who comes with the spark to light it. Who put the gunpowder there?
Religion at its core is divisive. It is divisive. It is basically us versus them. It is in group, out group. The Muslims have themselves to blame. They carry their religion on their sleeve. They make displays of it. So definitely that gives rise to somebody who will play them. He's playing them. Of course he's playing them. They are responsible for it.
Can you give me an example of him playing them? I've genuinely tried. So the media narrative, the most common perception in India is that the Bharatiya Janata Party is anti-Muslim.
Okay. First of all, ever since he became Chief Minister of Gujarat, he has not had a Muslim candidate.
That doesn't mean anything to me. So, for example, if I want LGBTQ rights, I don't need an LGBTQ minister. I can do it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. That which religion are you that you're a minister?
Okay, fine. I'm not disputing that. Fine. You can call this is called circumstantial evidence. It's not clinching evidence. It's pointing in a direction. It's pointing. For example, from in Gujarat, as long as he was chief minister, Muslims were not given a ticket. Then he became prime minister, Muslims were not given a ticket, even at the national level. Then when they won in UP, again Muslims were not given a ticket. Then CAA comes along, and Muslims are excluded with the excuse that Muslims don't need it.
Okay, CAA, we can have a discussion if you want to go there. CAA is a very simple act which says, in the neighborhood of India, we are surrounded by, other than China, Muslim majority countries.
Yeah.
Those countries, and most of them are Sunni, around India at least. The CAA says, most of these people who are living in these countries, any religion other than Muslims, have seen a history of persecution, and there are facts behind this. There was 24% Hindus in Pakistan, it's 4% today.
Fair enough.
So the bill says, Parsis, Sikhs, Hindus, Isais, all of you are welcome in our country. We will fast track your citizenship. It has not said anything that people in India, your citizenship will go away. There is nothing. I read the entire bill. There is nothing there about existing citizens.
You have read the Citizenship Act 2019? Have you read it?
There is nothing there that changes
citizenship
status.
Is the word persecuted in there?
In 2019, religious persecution, yes.
No, is the word persecuted?
Religious
the word
persecution
is not there. It doesn't exist. The word minority doesn't exist. The Hindus are minority in these countries, right? It does not exist. You can pull it up. The word persecuted does not exist in the CA 19.
Okay, let's say that's true. Point of that is? What happens
The
if
point
that's
of
not there?
the point of that was not about. There are many points I can raise. Okay, one of them is that if it talks about persecuted Hindus, let's leave the other religions. They were just put over there as a convenience to show that you're being fair.
I don't think so.
Okay, okay. Even then, how many Parsis are there that are persecuted? Okay, anyway, fine. So you keep a cut-off date. December 31st, 2014 is the date up to which you will take Hindus from who are persecuted. What happens about a Hindu who comes one day later? He doesn't fit in.
No, that's a fair question. But you said
So-
you said CAA was anti-Muslim. When we started.
Because again, now every criminal case is not a verdict is not reached based on clinching evidence that when the murder happened, for example, there was only the murderer and the victim, right? No, there was no witness. So how do they then nail the murderer? How?
There's a murder
With
weapon.
circumstantial evidence.
No, there's a
Where
murder
were you?
weapon.
There was a motive. There was a weapon. There was a. You need a victim. You need a victim. You need a weapon. You need a motive. All these things. You need that person to have been there or whatever. So the investigators, the police or whoever, they put together something called circumstantial evidence. Now, circumstantial evidence, exclusion, Gujarat, All India, UP. Wherever BJP wins, they exclude Muslims. Fair. You may say that is circumstantial, don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept it, fine, but it is part of the circumstantial evidence.
It is part of the narrative, not the circumstance.
So when you
We
say
answer media. Yeah, please go ahead.
So when you say exclude them, are you only talking about party tickets or are you talking about life in general? Because from what I see, right, I mean, I have a lot of Muslim friends in India and they're progressing as successfully as we are. I mean, I don't see any latent discrimination against them. You find a lot of them in the corporate sector, they're having good jobs, at least in cities. Now, in UP, I know you may, when you say discrimination, maybe in terms of getting party tickets, that's because the party itself is Hindu based. So they may not give tickets.
It's not Hindu based.
Yeah, okay, I'm just assuming.
It's not Hindu based.
It's a big, okay, I'm making the biggest.
There's a book right there next to you, the RSS handbook.
Okay.
Right? It's not
Yeah,
Hindu
okay.
based. It's
Okay,
never been.
Let's say, for example, that this is an assumption, right? So you don't give tickets, but if the folks in the state can get to enjoy the benefits of the policies equally, I think that's fair game.
I'd like to bring it back to the original point about efficiency being used as a tool by a populist politician for votes.
Yes.
Yeah. Hindu-Muslim rivalry is very well known.
Yes.
Yeah. They get along. That's fine because it's a tribal thing. Or
Yes.
eventually, after you finish killing enough people of both sides, then you realize that you got to get along. Okay,
Yes.
you got to get along. If you don't get it first time, you will soon learn that you got to get along.
Yes.
So anyway, but there will always be someone who will try to trigger something for his own benefit. Now,
Yes,
a politician for votes, if he can, any politician's dream is the religious method. The religious method. I'm not talking about a religion. I'm talking the religious method. The religious method is different from the scientific method.
Yes.
The scientific method includes things like common sense, logical reasoning, proposing a hypothesis, creating an experiment to test the hypothesis, gathering data, scrutinizing it, putting it before your peers for review, debating it, and keeping an open mind to change your mind. This is the scientific method.
Yes.
The religious method is indoctrination. Do not change your mind. Remain, feel hurt if someone says anything against it, if someone questions it, if someone mentions. This is the religious. A religious method basically is hardening you towards that. The Muslims have that repeated namaz throughout the day to harden you. Anything which you repeat, you get hardened into it. Robert Cialdini in his book Influence, one of the 6 weapons of influence is commitment and consistency. So anything which you commit to repeatedly, you become consistent. You can't take a U-turn on that.
Yes.
You're stuck on that. You've been saying things in one direction. You can't take a U-turn now.
Agreed.
So religion
I would say you usually don't. I won't say you can't.
You usually don't. Yeah, but now in the Christian Christian press, you have the I believe. They tell you what to believe.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So religions. Why are religions so old? They are centuries old. All of them. Even the last one, the Sikh religion, if it may be the most, the major ones.
So, yes.
Major ones. There are of course Mormons and all which came later, but let's say the Sikh one.
The Abrahamic religions are old.
Why? Why do they? Because of hardening. It is a politician's dream to harden a voter who will not go anywhere. It's a marketer's dream. It's a brand. You've hardened that person so much he'll go nowhere. He will fight, and the more he gets attacked, the more he gets hardened. So when we call people a bhakt or something, Modi bhakt and andhbhakt and all these things, we're hardening that person. When I tell Austin about David and what David did, and I condemn David's action, Austin gets more hardened. Because Robert Cialdini, in his book, he talks about him going with one very logical friend. Let's call Mr. Logical. He goes with Mr. Logical to one of these spiritual sessions, and there are all those spiritual gurus sitting on the stage. And Mr. Logical gets up and starts challenging the spiritual guru, all of them. Mr. Logical is successful in demolishing and embarrassing all of them on stage, right? Then they come out, and they see all the audience, long line of people wanting to join up. And Mr. Logical asks a few of them, "You heard me. I just proved to you he's wrong. Then why are you joining?" So the person in the line says, "I'm joining because you're so persuasive. Before you persuade me totally, I want to join them." It works. It's reverse psychology.
I have no arguments with this, Sanjiv. This is fine. I do get that there are people who hold on to their opinion with ridiculous dogmatism. No issues there.
Again, let's not forget the point. We are talking about efficiency. Efficiency is used by populist leaders. As you said, freebies is an efficiency also. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I agree with that fully.
So if I take off on your point, efficiency versus effectiveness, right? So the current government run by BJP is efficient, right? Let's use your argument. They're efficient. The opposition is blatantly absent, nowhere. Let me finish first. There are very few people who attend rallies of theirs. We've seen that. And apparently what happens now is there's no credible opposition in our country. And a lot of us find that a problem, because you need to have a strong opposition. Now what you're saying is wrong. Efficiency seems to be working with a majority of the country because they're re-electing the same leaders, and the effectiveness, what you just said, is falling on flat ears because you have another party, the grand old party.
Right.
They're struggling to even put a coalition together. They've lost the whole narrative, and we are being deprived of a proper opposition. So why isn't this effectiveness versus efficiency argument working here?
It would appear that efficiency is winning over here, and that's the way to go, right? It appears like that. That's the way to go. But there is a thing called natural principles. You cannot win against natural principles. Natural principles always win. Stephen Covey says that actually we are not in control. Natural principles are in control. Either you align with them or you will break. The people who are into efficiency and getting the golden eggs quickly. Okay, you know the story of the goose. He thought he was impatient. He had a goose which laid golden egg, one egg every day. He was impatient. He wanted all the eggs. He killed the goose. What happens with efficiency is, sure you will get your votes. Sure you will come to power again and again. Yeah, but natural principles will finally exert themselves. It will exert. If you're only thinking about a solution to the current problem, politicians and all, I don't have a solution. I'm telling you the broad framework that natural principles are working. They are working. The more you win your votes based on simply efficiency and not effectiveness, the more you are going to get whacked someday.
But
I
what if,
think it was. Sorry, please go ahead.
But what if efficiency is what the population is looking for?
Yes, the
right? Because, like what Krishna said, for a lot of people, it's about you getting your square meals in a day. It's about you being able to go out and swipe your card or even do automatic payments, and things happening so fast. And if the government has principles which have brought this whole world to us fast, and the efficiency which you're saying is bad, people are saying this is really working for us.
I just correct you, I did not say efficiency is bad. I said both are tools. Both are tools, but it depends on where you use it and how much you use it. Yeah. Now, if you say that the crowd is right and the crowd is buying into that efficiency, fair enough, fair enough. I have people who tell me that I don't want to live beyond 75. I don't know why you want to live till 100. Okay. They say that, and that's fair. I'll be on the wrong side of most people, because most people have bought into the social wisdom that 75 is enough, and when you go beyond that, you're frail, you're in a wheelchair, your peers have all died, you have no friends, and it's a miserable life. They bought it. So why would I want to live till 100? Okay, my living till 100 is based on effectiveness. Because I'm looking for consistent results. I'm looking for a healthy body, a functioning body, which I've chosen a long-term goal. Yeah, those who don't agree with me will say, let's eat the junk food and this. Fair enough, they're getting their reward now. But my peers, when they are in the hospital dying, I'll be visiting them. I'll be healthy. Yeah, you get me. So it's okay. The party is using efficiency and they're getting the votes and this and that. But our constitution writers, I don't know if some will agree, some will not, that they were men of wisdom, and they definitely debated it, and they did scour the whole world to find the best ideas, to make sure their primary objective was objective, not goal. The objective was the continuation of the nation itself. Now, when you use efficiency and you're getting votes by showing you are a Hindu you favor Hindus, and Congress is Modi has neatly divided it into, we are the Hindu party, Congress is a Muslim party.
No, I don't think he's done that.
I got it from people who support him. That my best friend,
people can have their reasons for supporting.
My best friend, with great respect, we discuss on WhatsApp, and he tells me he hates the Congress. He says, I ask him why. He says, because they appease the Muslims. So I tell him, then you don't actually hate the Congress, you actually hate the Muslims. Congress is just a front to hate.
He could be hating the Congress because in his mind,
Congress is immaterial. He will hate any party that he sees as appeasing the Muslims. The party is not important. He doesn't like Muslims for some reason. As a good friend who will tell you that you have bad breath, I told him, I said, I'm your friend, I'm just telling you something. I think you hate Muslims. It's not that you hate Congress. If tomorrow Congress starts also doing Muslim bashing, you will start liking the Congress. So it's deep-rooted Muslim. I put a post yesterday. Another female friend of mine. To me, she gives all thumbs up to everything that I write against Modi. She gives a thumbs up. But another friend tells me, Sanjiv, do you know this? He sent me posts of hers. Venomous stuff, anti-Muslim stuff, she's posting elsewhere. But to me, she's giving thumbs up to. So I slowly, I finally got her to reveal herself. I said, come out of the closet. If you don't like Muslims, if you like Modi and what he's doing, and he's making it a Hindu party Muslim.
I don't think he's doing that. I want to keep asking this question.
What is that? What do you think?
I have seen no evidence of him hating Muslims in anything until very recently. Now, suddenly, let me also take your side in this. Very recently, he did give a speech where he said Muslims will take our Mangal Sutras away. That was one example where he did say something which I found a little puzzling.
He called them Ghusbeti, infiltrators.
Very recently in a speech. Yes, he did.
Okay,
that was definitely a bad thing on
every mocking of the opposition is often done with Muslim names. Rahul Gandhi is called Shehzade. Why didn't you call him Rajkumar? Mamta is called Begum. Akhilesh, of course Modi didn't say it, but Yogi said it in UP, that the previous government was giving all the rations to those who have more children. Okay, and Modi himself said, ये जो पत्थर फेंकने वाले उनके कपड़े से मालूम पड़ता है. We come to know from their clothes. So it can easily. This is called what he's using is what's the term? Plausible deniability. Plausible deniability is where you say something which you can then deny. But who you want, the message you wanted to convey to the people. In Hindi they say इशारा काफ़ी है, समझदार को इशारा काफ़ी है. It is basically that is plausible deniability. I said something which I can then deny later that I said it, or I was against them. I never said it. Sure, that's why I'm talking about circumstantial evidence.
Okay, I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I told you that it's difficult to explain policy to someone who's struggling for square meals a day. Now, when it's coming close to an election, I usually turn off the news because when it comes close to an election, I know everybody is going to go into appeasement. Everyone. So every single person. I'm not a fan of any politician when it comes to election time.
Can I just tell you, instead of the word appeasement, everyone goes into efficiency. They look for a shortcut.
Correct.
They look
All
for a result. They're not looking for consistent results. There's a
They
difference
need a
between
result,
a result and consistent results. People who want consistent results have behave differently from the people who are looking for a result.
In India,
Your freebie is aimed at getting votes.
in India, in my lifetime thus far, I've seen everybody in India, politicians, going after the short-term gain at election time. When it is few days before election time. So I discard what they are saying at that time. I look at policy. Thus far, when it comes to policy, since 2014 to now, I haven't seen anything that was anti-Muslim. He could have done reservations for specific this thing. He didn't do it. In fact, in my very honest opinion, I don't think he's been Hindu enough. The Places of Worship Act is still in progress. Why? I don't know. It shouldn't exist. There should be no such thing as Places of Worship Act. The temples are still under control of the government. He should give the temple control back to the temples itself. There are so many things where I feel he's not Hindu enough. He has actually tried his best to be as...
What do you mean by Hindu enough?
If I'm
Hindu enough or Hindutva enough?
Hindutva enough. If
Okay.
I am very
Hindutva, what is the direction of Hindutva?
it should
Where will it take the
Akhand
country?
Bharat philosophy that is prevalent in Hindutva philosophy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him implement it in policy.
So if he has not implemented, does it automatically lead to the argument that he doesn't intend to do it? Just
Yes.
because he's not done it till now?
Because I will never assume someone is guilty until they've
Dhruv
done
Rathi,
something.
in one of his videos, he shows you a car which is totally, the tires gone, everything, it's clanking, but it's still moving. Just because the car is moving doesn't mean that it's a functional car.
That's not the same thing.
If you are destroying the fabric of India's fraternity,
Now, you see those statements. People keep saying destroying fabric of India, destroying democracy. I'm not getting what has he done that is destroying fabric. What has he done that has destroyed democracy? In fact, let's take electoral bonds. It was his idea.
so there was
Government said
a
no.
movie, Danny Denzongpa,
Okay.
Hindi movie.
Okay.
Kanun Kya Karega, right?
I haven't seen.
Okay, you haven't seen it. He was a criminal who knew the law very well.
Okay.
He never did anything, but he just show up. Legally, you could not touch him. The murder is not done, the crime is not done, but he is indicating, I can do it.
If this is true, we should have had a wonderful opposition. If this is true, if he was doing something which because he's legally very sound, then the opposition is gunning for blood anyway. They should have easily come and said, you did this because there is a loophole in the law and it did this. We demand that you bring in a bill that does this and corrects it.
Okay.
We've not seen it.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Huh?
why don't we have
Huh?
a good opposition? I mean, you cannot place the entire fault on the party in power. It's equal. You have equal
Of
share
course.
to blame with the opposition.
Of
Why
course.
can't they get their message
Of
together?
course,
Why can't they have a proper office?
because the people who are into efficiency and the populist leaders, it is not a coincidence that across the world populist leaders have mushroomed all over the place. You have Trump, you have Bolsonaro in Brazil, you have Viktor Orban in Hungary, you had Boris Johnson in England, you have of course Erdogan in Turkey, he's been there for a long time. Then you had Modi, then you have that Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Okay, these
He
are all
wasn't
strong
elected
men,
like that.
strong men.
Yeah.
they are present, they are, I will keep coming back to the original point of efficiency being used. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. The countries which are the best, most sought after for immigration, the Scandinavian countries and Denmark and all these countries are the ones where they practice effectiveness. They don't have you heard as yet? Maybe they will come. The populist leaders will come as more immigrants, black, brown, and all start coming, and Muslims start coming.
Denmark has a populist leader now.
Maybe it will come because a lot of Syrians and all have come in and all this, and sooner or later, populist leaders will get the upper hand because they'll have an issue. But they'll be able to point to all those brown-skinned Syrians who are just on your lawn, you know, and the whites will get frightened. Yes, they are overwhelming us. Modi has done. Again, let me tell you again, plausible deniability is a sort of language you use where you can never be accused of having said it, but you are insinuating this, you are insinuating that. People understand what you're talking about. Huh? Modi has been, I just lost my train of thought what I was going to
You were going to tell Mario how Modi has contributed to a lack of opposition.
He's far more, he's far better at efficiency.
Good. So my point is, what is the opposition not getting right then? Do you think there's an equal part to blame here, that the opposition continuously feels only one particular candidate from one family, and can you not call that a kind of populism also? I mean, the opposition is always behind one party, one particular family, and they don't want to let go. Do you feel that if the opposition feels completely new faces which are merit-based, they will at least stand a chance?
Mario, you know that the butterfly with a 1 week lifespan looks at the oak tree and says, I never saw any change in the oak tree all my life. Okay, he's lived only 5 days. Yeah. Okay. Social media has helped is advantages. It gives a massive head start and advantage to the populist leader and the person who's going to do us versus them. He's deliberately doing it. Whereas the opposition is trying effectiveness, which is in our constitution, fraternity.
How are they trying effectiveness?
See, whether they are doing it or they did it isolated and all, that's not their policy. The policy of Modi is...
No, you said opposition was doing effectiveness. Give me one example.
Yes. For example, they are not using religious polarization.
They are. Why is Rahul Gandhi going to all the temples now before the election? Why is Shashi Tharoor passing comments about the Thiruvananthapuram temple now before the elections? Why is he going against the Communist Party now before the elections?
He is now using religion to buttress his own religious credentials now, right?
They're doing the same thing.
Right. So because somebody does these things, does that mean that absolves Modi of his massive? He's doing a mountain of efficiency.
Sanjiv, there is a very popular debating ploy that people use. Okay, I'm going to say you're trying to use it. The ploy is, if I say something bad about some person, you're going to say, what about this person?
No, I'm not using what about. No whataboutry.
I don't want to speak about.
I'm not talking.
Let's speak about the opposition.
No, not what. I'm not talking about whataboutry. It's not whataboutry over here. One is deliberate. The other is they are being led into being forced. The narrative of the BJP where Hindu is trying to paint the opposition as anti-Hindu and more favoring the Muslims. So it is forcing the opposition also to use efficiency and take out their credentials. Look, we are not. He's saying that, but we are not. Why? Rahul Gandhi did the same to Modi recently. He keeps on saying Modi is, serving Adani and Ambani. Huh? Modi came out with a reference to Adani and Ambani and saying that.
I'm talking about Gandhi. You again started speaking about Modi.
No, I am not. It's not about. So, are you saying that one should not talk about both sides?
The question is, why don't we have a solid opposition which is cohesive in their message, which is giving a positive alternative to people who don't think the BJP is doing a good job? Why don't we have that? We've waited 10 years. We still don't have it.
So that means we will never have?
That's not my
question.
May never have. Again, that's not my question.
We may never have.
Why,
is it okay if we never have?
No,
is it okay?
Of course.
So my question is, why don't we have?
Okay.
It's not okay.
Why is it not okay to have a non-cohesive opposition?
Because this is important. this is what we're doing here is important. You disagree on something, I disagree on something. We need to be
I'm
able
asking
to
you.
speak.
I'm asking you. Why is it assumed that you need to have a cohesive opposition? Why?
If you have, there must be a balance in power in a democracy. There must be.
This is yeah.
There must
Right.
be a balance in power in
Yes,
democracy
yes.
because nobody is aware. There is not a single human being in the world who is aware of his own blind spots.
Till now, our constitutional framework, which has produced right now 37% majority for Modi and 60 the rest. Okay, some are his NDA partners and all this, but at least 50% are fractured. They are fractured. The mandate is fractured among opposition leaders, among opposition parties, right? Well, this is while everybody who, including I, who want Modi out, we think it's a weakness, but this is a fractured opposition will eventually make the opposition realize that their short-term goals based on efficiency will be better served with focusing on effectiveness. Long-term goals, consistent goals. Let's work together. Let's put our numbers together. Let's do seat sharing. This is coming down to the what I'm talking about, maturity. This is called synergizing.
It's not happening.
Again, it's the butterfly argument. The butterfly is saying, 5 days I lived, it never. It will happen. It will happen.
Example. Rahul Gandhi is in power.
Natural principles sometimes don't take a long time to work. I have seen people.
Okay.
I've seen people who still tell me, you Sanjiv, what? Yeah, 100-year goal in fitness and 1.5 meal and all. Come on, have a drink and this and that and eat and drink and all. In the short term, they seem to be enjoying and winning, but in the long term, I will win. Warren Buffett avoided the IT companies. Everybody mocked him. His Berkshire Hathaway stock fell 50% during the booms. Everyone was going towards the IT companies. He stuck to his gun. He stuck to effectiveness, not to efficiency. He didn't suddenly join the bandwagon. He didn't do that. So if you're saying that why aren't they doing it, maybe we haven't. See, even the earth at one time was either too hot or too cold. Are you aware that this is a Goldilocks zone? The earth is at a orbit around the sun which is just right. It may not be forever. There was a time it was too cold and it can become too hot. I don't know which side it will go. So it is a spectrum. We are moving through a stage. Right now the populists have the upper hand. But
okay, let me try it this way.
And the opposition can't find a solution to it. But I am again getting back to the point about natural principles, which is the basis of the 7 habits. The natural principles say that efficiency has a different function and effectiveness has a different function, and the populists are using efficiency, and the more you use efficiency, there is a point of diminishing returns. It will come. Even if at that time you will find even a fractured opposition will win. Without any effort, you will wonder what happened suddenly. Now the same question, if you will excuse me and not accuse me of whataboutery, the same question could be asked that without Modi, it's a fractured BJP.
Okay, let's go there.
Who's the leader?
I have a very strong suspicion.
But I would not like to actually focus on that because this political discussions kind of, even though anybody viewing this will fall into camps, us versus them and all this thing, That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this conversation is efficiency and effectiveness. And these are just characters on the stage.
I agree. My next question to you was going to be, if I am the leader of opposition, if I decide I want to run in the opposition of this country, I have, in my mind, I feel like I know what would be effective things I would like to add in my manifesto. I would like my manifesto to be effective, not efficient.
Yeah.
These are some things I would add. I would say I want India to be genuinely secular, so I don't want the Places of Worship Act. I want India to be genuinely equal for all. I don't want to put reservations for anyone except tribals and Adivasis who genuinely need it because we've not yet developed schools there. But I'd put a time frame on it. I would say I'll give reservation for the next 10-15 years until I'm putting a school there, until I'm setting up their infrastructure, and I will do it within the next 5 to 10 years. I will say all these in my manifesto, which are very forward looking. like this, what would you like to see from the opposition, which proves to you that they are being effective and not efficient?
I would like the opposition to go back to the roots, to the foundational principles of the constitution and stick there. Stick by it whether you win or you don't.
Example?
For example, a cricket team can win by tricks and tactics and all, but a sportsman is interested in being a sportsman. He will play. He may lose matches. You'll say he should also do his tricks and tactics and psychological traits.
That's still an example.
Playing with the ball, delayed tactics, those are all tactics on the field.
This is an example. What would be a specific policy you would put there?
I told you. Everything is in the constitution. We have a constitution.
Example, like let's say I have not read the constitution as much as I should.
Keep religion out. Keep religion out of politics. Educate people. Focus more on education. Modi, for example, you can categorize me as the anti-Modi camp.
I don't like categorizing.
No, it is okay. I am anti him. The day he changes, I'll be for him.
Okay.
I will flip if he just changes. Okay. So what was I saying? That
you were saying education.
Education. Focus on education. Modi, for example, has mocked academia, intellectuals. He has said, I believe in hard work, not Harvard. Okay.
I think he's right. Have you seen what's happened to Harvard lately?
No, again. It's a slogan. We don't want to get.
No, he said specifically Harvard, so I want to say specifically.
I think what he didn't mean. He didn't actually. Nobody knows what has happened to Harvard, and Harvard is indicative of academia, educated people.
He has a lot of
highly educated
people
with privilege. Yeah.
He has a lot of educated people in the BJP. A lot of them.
I'm talking about the slogan says. The slogan is pitting educated people against people who have to work hard.
You're choosing to see what he's saying in a negative way intentionally. Because I feel
Why did he use it?
He would like people to go for skills as opposed to degrees.
Why has he as Prime Minister chosen to side with hard work and not Harvard, which is basically use your brain, your thinking?
I'm guessing that's because 60% of our country is below the poverty level, 50 or 60, and a lot of them do not have the proper education. He needs to reach out to them. So what is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with him reaching out to the people who have less education. But why are you bashing academia and intellectuals? Because the academic, the intellectual, as I call myself a dot collector, people call me, what do you mean by dot collector? Dots of knowledge, and then I connect the dots, An intellectual uses his intellect, all the forces of his intellect to educate, gather knowledge, gather experiences widely, deeply, and connect the dots. That's an intellectual. But that is the enemy of the religious method, which is what a politician wants.
I feel you're reaching. He said that he prefers that.
He didn't say he prefers.
I prefer hard work over hard work.
Yeah, that doesn't constitute bashing. That does not constitute bashing.
So if he values hard work,
then why not just speak about hard work? Why do you mention Harvard as an? Why do you do an us versus them?
Why is your first response that no, Modi is a problem because he said this? We can instead say that look, hard work is this. Your primary response was I hate the man because he said this.
This comes from logical reasoning. There is something called induction. Induction means that if you saw a sequence of things happening repeatedly, induction, then you will expect that the next one will also be the same. If you reach into a barrel with black and white balls, and you keep getting black balls, there may be some white balls. You keep getting black balls 9 times, so you will think the 10th time also. This is induction.
Fair enough.
Induction.
Fair enough.
So, inductive reasoning, it is very useful for us to use inductive reasoning. We use it all the time to make judgments. We may be wrong, we may have to revise our judgments, but we do make judgments based on inductive reasoning about people. about people. If we call it generalization. We call it generalization.
But
For example,
judgment, if it is going in one direction, that's called bias.
Now inductive reasoning, there is a long list of comments and dog whistles and plausible deniability.
Actions matter more, right? I'm again asking him, policy-wise, has he done anything?
He cannot do it.
Of course he can. He has majority in
can,
Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha now.
Yes, he can. Yeah, but then he doesn't want to be doing it so overtly. He wants the votes. He has to show people that the whole point, believe me, he's playing on emotions. He's playing on Indians' pride, need for pride. We have always felt backward. We've always felt we are not treated well abroad. So he's gone all over the place trying to boost our pride that we have.
See the way you said that, right? You have said that there was a problem, that we did not feel pride. He took some steps to correct it. But how you have said that...
Has he corrected it?
I'm for sure.
No, is it corrected?
Very easy, yes.
Is it
very easy, yes.
Very easy, yes.
Very easy, yes.
How?
The way India is perceived in the world today is very different than how
give me examples.
Russia actually listens to us. He was one of the reasons. The moment Maldives did something, he went and started promoting Lakshadweep. No prime minister has done that before. The way US receives us is very different compared to how it is now.
Yeah.
The trade barriers, the fact that UN Security Council, right? The fact that we are not on the Security Council has not stopped him from chairing. The G20 was done in India, and a statement was released about Israel-Palestine from India, about Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine, from the G20 on the first day, not the third day or fourth day when it wouldn't matter. First day when the media could actually discuss it. These were things he championed.
Okay.
I'll give you another example. I'm just going to carry off, right? So 10, 12 years ago now, the previous government, very intellectual. Manmohan Singh was brilliant. I mean, he was a
brilliant economist,
right? Now, there was this occasion once when, you remember Barack Obama came to India? One of the visits when he gave India the nuclear deal, right? Now, I remember one exchange.
That was Bush.
It was Bush?
That was Bush.
Oh, yeah. No, this was during Barack Obama's time. He had made the visit. So, this was a stage. It was a press conference. There was Barack Obama standing here, and there was Manmohan Singh standing here. And they were having a press conference, and the NDTV, I think it must have been an NDTV reporter, was feeding them a few questions.
I told them to sit down. That one.
No, not that. After some time, this reporter asked Obama, "Did you meet our Prime Minister?" And she said, "Yeah, we've had good discussions." And then she asked a very important question: "What do you think about him?" Which Obama laughed and said, "I don't know what you expect me to answer. He's a great man." And that's precisely where I come. 10 years ago, whenever our leaders went abroad, we were always begging for validation. Please say something good about this. Please say something good. That does not exist anymore now. When Indian leaders step on the world stage, people back off. 2-3 years ago in World Economic Forum, I don't know whether you remember, I'm going to say this to you, I don't like it. But when Narendra Modi came into the camera, Mark Zuckerberg was there. He pushed him aside. Mark Zuckerberg moved. Modi took the spotlight. The way Indians are perceived globally now is iotas, is zillions of times better than. And here's the point: we were good all along. There was nothing wrong with what we were doing then and now. It's just that this whole self-respect and prestige, we now have earned it. We've got it. People recognize it, and that's what I think the nerve, and that's what people realize how we are being perceived today.
Mario, we have a leader who is transactional. You'll say there's nothing wrong with transactional.
No, I don't believe
nothing
it's
is transactional. Okay, the Americans imposed an embargo on Russian oil, but at the same time they allowed India to buy it. The purpose was because if Russian oil went off the market, oil prices would spike with a big source like Russia going off the market.
Europe bought it too.
Whatever I'm saying. So he was used. Modi was used to buy the oil. You gave your perspective. I'm giving you my perspective. Why is your perspective right and my wrong? Why can it not be that he was used by Biden?
I respectfully apologize. Please
he was used by Biden. I say he was used by Biden. Modi, I need you to buy the Russian oil while I pretend that I'm embargoing our Russians.
Sounds conspiracy theory.
Maybe, but it is true.
You are saying it is true.
No, the facts are true. The facts are true.
Biden phone call
Point number one. they embargoed Russian oil.
Yes, they did.
Right?
Yes, they did.
Point number 2, they could stop it.
They didn't allow. India said we're going to buy.
See, if the Europeans and the Americans really wanted to crack down on India, they would have. You know what Trump did? You know what Trump did to Modi? There was what is that? Some kind of a drug. It was a quack claim that it works during COVID.
Ivermectin.
No, another one, something else. I forget the name.
With Q, Quadza, whatever thing.
Something like that. It is not remdesivir. Some other. There's another one. Okay.
Something with Q. I remember.
India happened to be producing a lot of it.
Yep.
Right? Modi tried to act tough and restrict exports and keep it back. Trump warned him, I want my share or there'll be consequences. Very soon Modi sent it. He sent Trump's share. See, you want, if you have this image of a strong man with great relationships, those relationships are hollow relationships based on efficiency. They are not the ones which can consistently remain. They will not remain. They'll evaporate. They are not the strongest. The strongest relationships are the ones that are built on consistency.
I agree with you. And if that is true, we wouldn't have had the relationship we've had for the past 10 years.
With whom?
With the world. If our relationships were focused transactional and efficient, like you said, it's not.
It is, but
it's been very consistent all over the world.
See,
India is the one country which can visit Israel and Palestine at the same time.
The consistent relationship is the one which is based on effectiveness, on behaviors the ones which are based on tricks and tactics and a tactical move this way and that way, they will not last. You may have built an image of pride and India's getting all this stuff. Of course, we know he controls the media. All media is in his hand.
Not the world media.
Not the world media, but who sees the world media?
Everybody.
Does the villagers watch the world media?
A lot of them do. My maid knows about
You really tell me they watch BBC and CNN?
My maid knows about Al Jazeera.
You're giving anecdotal evidence.
Anecdotal
means I have an anecdote. It is not prove. Your anecdote doesn't automatically prove the point.
I agree.
An anecdote.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But Sanjiv, respectfully, the same thing could apply to you as well.
Yeah, tell me. I will
you
apologize.
Have also anecdotal claims and everything that you're saying.
No, which one I have given you anecdotal?
You're saying Modi is anti-Muslims.
He's not. You are saying he's not.
I'm saying that he's given no evidence for being anti or any religion.
Because on a governmental scale, on a supply side of supply of services and all this, there's been no discrimination. That's what you're saying. I'm talking at the political level to get votes.
Everybody does that. I say that every politician
so you are but you agree that he positions himself as anti-Muslim.
I will say every politician
you
in
agree?
the world.
You agree that he positions himself as
an example
and that the Congress is a Muslim party.
I
agree with that.
No, I do not.
Yeah, he
I
says that.
Modi said something, that Mangal Sutra claim. I said that was wrong. What he said, he shouldn't have said that. I'm agreeing with you that during election time, every politician will say something to get votes. I don't care about that because I've blocked it out. There's nothing I can do about it. What I can do is I can look at the policy.
So you have no problem.
I do have a problem.
You have no problem with religious polarization, which could lead to riots and death and destruction of people's lives. You have, and he's doing it. He's the prime minister. He's a prime minister, and at the same time, he's doing religious polarization.
I'm again asking you. Give me something he has done where he has done this. And I'll tell you why I'm asking. Let me just give me 30 seconds.
You tell me.
Give me 30 seconds.
We have also discussed plausible deniability. He can deny everything, and you can also deny.
He was the chief minister in Gujarat, where he was accused of the greatest Muslim genocide in the history of India. Right? He was accused of something that was insane.
Yeah.
Where
Hindus also died in that.
Where millions of reporters, millions of the people, US denied him a visa. Everything happened where he was the center of attention. The opposition was in power at the center. If anything that he did was real, if he was genuinely in charge when something like that was happening, if he genuinely goaded people or triggered people to do that, when the opposition was in power at the center, they could have done something and got him in jail. He was a chief minister for 10, 11, I think 17ish years while he was there.
Yeah.
Then he came back to the center, and when he was in center, that was the main narrative. This guy is this guy is that, this guy is this. Supreme Court went ahead and gave him a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So now I am forced to question the media that for so many years of my school life, all I've heard is that Modi is some mass murderer. But every single time I'm seeing, everyone is acquitting him.
Okay.
Is the media narrating
I've got
something
your
that I'm
point.
expecting?
I've got your point. You made a point that he got a clean chit, right? There are a lot of murderers also get clean chits. A lot of crooks get clean. The clean chit is not automatically. Again, it comes down to the perception of the voters, right? Right. The Supreme Court gave him a clean chit.
Right.
But the people of Gujarat
Voted him in as chief minister.
What does that mean? They voted him.
There are Muslims in Gujarat.
They voted him. He got a thumping majority because he gave a Muslims a tough time.
That's a very
In his
harsh thing to say
speeches,
about
what
our
is the
government.
Ram Janmabhoomi then? What is the Ram
Ram
Janmabhoomi?
Janmabhoomi issue did not start during Modi. It started in the 1995.
Yeah, but who led the Rath Yatra?
LK Advani.
Who was every day telling that that is the land on
Not
which
Modi, LK Advani. The entire world, by the way, was saying that was...
Mughals is not in the Mughals have not been condemned. Muslims are breeding like rabbits. They will overwhelm us. They have their own country to go to. Kashmir, Muslim majority, specially targeted as a.
Are you saying historically have these words been used? Of course they have. I'm asking you
What do you have to
specifically-
say? What do you have to say that maybe I think that you are buying into the plausible deniability? He can deny everything, and you bought into it.
The practice is very simple for me. I will judge you on the basis of your actions. I don't care what you say.
But
You tell me what you've done.
But the people of Gujarat did not vote for him thumping in 2002 or 2000. You know, he actually, do you know that after the riots, he actually brought the election forward earlier to encash the mood that has built up. He actually got his light bulb moment from the death of Muslims.
Political tactics are something any politician can
So,
do.
no, let's leave the politics aside. Again, we come back to the original point of efficiency.
I agree.
He found there is a mood. It's built up, hatred against Muslims. They've been slaughtered. All that stuff. There is the age-old. You know, the Muslims have ruled us so long. That victimization, and we were a great victimization combined with superiority, thinking that we were a great civilization and we were suppressed by these people. Both of them together. Both of them, and then you have the Messiah who comes along and he taught them a lesson. Yeah, they all know very well that Modi, the Nasruddin Shah's brother, was the military man who brought the troops to Ahmedabad. He was kept at the airport. The troops were kept over there. It was delayed. He has said it on camera. He has said our troops were not allowed to come into the city.
When?
It was during the riots, Ahmedabad, the riots.
I'll have to check this.
Yeah, those riots. He allowed the massacre to continue. You can't blame him. He can throw all kind of plausible denial.
Opposition would have
Okay,
taken
the
him.
proof of that is that Modi has found the magic wand, and that is, as long as you give Muslims a tough time and talk against them, you get Hindu votes. You get a section of Hindu votes. Yes, I will tell you Lok Sabha figures. 1984, the BJP first time they got 2 seats. They got about 7% of the vote share. They were just stagnating through the 80s. Then the Ram Janmabhoomi thing started, and after the Babri Masjid and the riots and all this, their vote share spiked to 20% under Advani. Vajpayee came along, and Vajpayee showed a moderate face, right? And he was actually a mask, because on the evening before the demolition of the Babri Masjid, there's a speech of him. He's smirking and he's ishara kafi hai, aap log aaye hain, you have come, and you know, the land, the ground is all rocky, and also you will have to bring earth moving equipment. Main to nahi rahunga, I won't be here. You can read it the way you want. I read it that he was giving encouragement to the car sevaks that, you know what's going to happen tomorrow, bring the earth moving stuff. Okay, he said there is rubble and all that, plausible deniability. He never said anything. Vajpayee clean chit, but he did say.
I have to hear the speech.
You'll have to go and listen to Vajpayee's speech.
I'll do that.
So then Vajpayee.
I think we need to take a short break.
Not a short break.
Let me finish this point.
Yes,
let me
please.
finish this point
Yes,
about the. Let me finish the point about the. Why I am telling you there is a vote bank of around 20%, which loves the Hindu-Muslim part. They are wedded to the BJP, and Modi sitting on that tiger. He can't get off. He will never get their vote unless every election he plays the Hindu-Muslim card.
So let's end this podcast on one positive note. What would whoever comes to power in the next 4 years, what are some things you would like them to do?
I would like them to focus on things which align with natural principles, because I'm a fan of natural principles and maturity. Do the things which are more. There's a thing which is the third habit is called put first things first. Don't put second things first. Religion and correcting historical mistakes and the Muslims and Mughals, that's not the first thing. There are far more important things to be seen to India needs.
Is there any one thing that you
just put it. Warren Buffett's pilot once. I'll just make this one pointer. He actually told Mr. Buffett once that the next aircraft you buy for yourself, Mr. Buffett, you buy so and so aircraft, and Mr. Buffett told him that are you saying that you're going to still be a pilot? When I buy it, I might buy it 10 years later. So Buffett tells him, go back and make a list of the 25 things that are most important to you, the things you have to do. He comes back, the pilot comes back, and Buffett says, now pick out the 5 most important, right? And the pilot goes and comes back with 5. Now there are two lists, one of 5 and one of 20. So Buffett asks him to do the 5. And then he asks him, what will you do with the other 20? So the pilot says, I will give it some time. When I've done 5, when I have time, I'll spend time on the other. Buffett says, no, don't put any time into those 20. Focus on those 5. That is my prescription for India.
There a 5 you have?
I can give you a quick list of focus on education. Focus on education. Focus on promoting the scientific temperament. Thinking, okay. Critical thinking.
Yep.
Yeah. Improve connectivity to roads, to villages, because the moment you actually connect a village with a good road, yes, you open up a lot of things for them.
Yes.
These are the positive things I'm telling you, which come off the top of my head. I am not going into what you should not do, because that's already being done. That's part of the 20. I'm telling you the part of the 5, what should be done. I would say start with effective thinking. What will give us consistent results rather than what will give us immediate results?
I'm going to have just one small topic. Not topic, just a question. So most of what I have a lot of Muslim friends. I'm in my political leanings, I'm center, right? And I have many friends from across religions, and a lot of the angst I hear from you is about the fact that maybe people do not understand Muslims enough. So much of this angst between religions, shouldn't one of your points have been to encourage interfaith dialogue? Don't you think proper interfaith dialogue would in fact cure some of this instead of...
Very good point, Mario. I am an atheist. I find religion to be an absolutely unnecessary thing. It is absolutely unnecessary. It's a placebo. It is a false comfort. It is based on a lie. It's based on a lie, because I have people, there are atheists and there are agnostics. So I say there is no God. There is no God. People say, how can you say, have you searched the whole universe? Right?
Do you know there are 2 religions in the world based in India which don't believe in God?
Jainism. Yeah.
So atheism doesn't mean you're not religious.
No. I'm an atheist in the sense that I'm more than an atheist.
You don't believe in God. That's
no,
you don't think
I'm more than an atheist. I'm the Christopher Hitchens type of atheist. I'm an anti-theist. I would like to see religion be replaced by rational thinking, scientific temperament. People profess that, but they don't. They say they want to eat healthy, then they go eat junk. Okay, so I am like that. So why did I say this so strongly? Why am I making it such a firm point? Because I have no truck with Muslims or Islam. I am not in their camp. I don't support any religion. And as for religious interfaith
Interfaith
dialogue and all, I personally, sorry, whoever's listening to this, I have to use an analogy. They're all peddling a drug. One is peddling cocaine, another is peddling heroin. I am not interested if the heroin dealer and the cocaine dealer are getting together and not shooting each other. That's not, I don't want them to peddle it in the first place. That's my point, that interfaith harmony and all this is of no use. You got to stop the drug.
I think we have enough content for more. I think we would love to have you back, Sanjiv sir, if you come.
Of course.
I would love to have you as a guest again, because we tried to, you said we can speak to him in 30 minutes. Not a chance. I don't think we've done justice to him even today. We would love to have you back, sir, but on this note, I think we would like to end today's. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. I had fun. Thank you.
Thank
On
you
that
so much.
note,
Thank you so much.
we are done. Cheers.
Thank you.